Hey friends, we got a new tool review video to go over with you today. You can see we're outside here by this big tree. It's time to cut some of the limbs that are getting close to our roof. So this tool is going to come in really handy. Now this is a mini chainsaw. You can see it's got the really small chainsaw up here, but it's actually a two-in-one tool because it has this really big pole extension. And again, you can see the battery casing down here. This is going to help us extend all the way up into those top limbs so we can cut them safely without having to get up in the tree and risk injury. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the pole attachment for this saw, and specifically the upper portion where we're going to attach this little mini cutter onto the pole to get that extension. Now this whole section is shaped just like a battery, which is how it fits into the base of our little mini saw. And then we can actually pivot this top head into multiple positions to get the best cutting angle for the branches that we may want to cut. I'll grab the saw here, and as you can see, these two guys just fit together and snap into place. So I can just snap that into place just like that, and we're ready to go. Okay, so now that we have the saw mounted and we have the battery in down at the bottom, let me show you exactly how things telescope out. So as you can see, we have a top piece here that we can go all the way out, and that looks to be, man, that's about 2.5, maybe even 3 feet or so for each of these little buckle pieces, and we have 2 of them. You can see it leaning up against the house here. This thing telescopes up really far. We get a really great reach. Now, before we get cutting here, I am going to want to think about safety. So a couple of pieces of gear that I'm going to be using are these safety glasses, as well as my snowboard helmet to protect my head in case some of these limbs come down. Again, exercise extreme safety when you're using this tool, friends. It is a sharp saw, and again, if you're cutting above yourself, things are going to be falling down. Okay, let's tackle this small little branch first and see how she does. Okay, as you can see, that was a successful first test. Now this branch really isn't very thick, so really all I had to do was touch that blade to it. It's incredibly sharp, it cuts really quickly. But again, this should be a fairly easy project for most saws. Let's see if we can't test it on something a little thicker now. Okay, our next test is going to be with this tree over here on this side of the house. Now this is going to absolutely stretch me to the max as far as this pole is able to stretch. I know I keep pointing this out, but really maintain proper safety when you're doing this stuff, friends. You don't want these limbs coming down on you. Okay, as you can see, the limb is now back here in our yard and ready to be cut up into smaller pieces. So let's go ahead and unlock the top piece from the bottom pole. We'll pull it out, and we're now ready to use the saw piece on top as a handsaw to cut this limb into smaller pieces. We'll take the battery, we'll pop it into the bottom of the handsaw, and we'll get to work. So there you go, friends, two-in-one tool, so you can use it as a tree saw or pole saw. With such a small saw, sometimes you really aren't sure what you're going to get. And this really did a great job for the job we needed it to do here at the house. Now, what I suggest is for the pros, no, I really think that they make a little bit more better quality versions of this if you go with a more high-end brand. But for your average Joe like me who does DIY projects around the house, this thing actually worked really great. If you're interested in grabbing this for yourself, you can find it right here on Amazon. And then if this has helped, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, because we do a ton of these little tool review videos to help make your shopping experience just a little bit easier. Thanks for watching, friends. We'll see you again on the next one.